The books come in huge carts, and there's a gentleman whose job is to open those and sort them by subject and genre for us. And then 3 editors, there's a fiction editor, nonfiction editor, and then our boss, the editor. We go in and we look at those books and we sort them, and we instantly make very quick decisions about what we think is interesting, what we think is not. Most we think is not. So in those quick decisions, almost everything is thrown out. That leaves us with about 10 or 15 books a day. We go back once a week and we look at those books more carefully. We read about them. We go online and we read about them. And we try and make decisions about, and some of those decisions are not based on quality. They're based on whether we've reviewed that subject before or that author before. Sometimes a book is not reviewed because we just did that kind of a book 6 weeks ago and there just isn't the space to do it again. So sometimes books are missed for reasons that have nothing to do with the quality of the book.
And favoritism among imprints. You don't want to review only Knopf books or only Crown
Right.
books, etc.
Right. And sometimes there are seasonal interests, there are holidays coming up, or certain political issues we want to address. So a lot of those things are external to the book's quality. Then we start to think about who could review it. And sometimes we pick a book because we have a perfect reviewer for it. Sometimes a book doesn't get assigned because we just can't find anyone to write for it. Sometimes books are assigned and the reviewer does not submit, and the book just dies right there because we don't have time to reassign it. And then once we get the reviews in, we read them over, we decide which ones are best and compelling and interesting and entertaining, and then we try to make choices about placement, where they'll be in the paper, which ones will be full page, which ones will be short, and which ones will be inside. That sounds trite, but since we make so many snap decisions, it does influence us. Also, we're embarrassingly influenced by those trade reviews that Catherine mentioned.
We haven't even gotten there.
Yeah, that angry person, writing a review for $35. I mean, if you get 3 good trade reviews, we'll probably take a look at your book, and if you get 3 bad ones, we're just not going to look at it. It dies right there before it even gets out of the critic.
Trade meaning like Publishers Weekly and Kirkus and Book List, whatever.
Library Journal.
Library Journal.
They're just tremendously influential. And when you think of who's writing that, it's a real weak link in the whole critical process. I'm really conflicted about this, and I've gotten in arguments with other book people, but I don't see anything wrong with us providing a reader service, like helping people find what they might want to read. People don't know. They walk into the bookstore, they're overwhelmed, they choose books according to who's paid to put that stack of books by the door. Whenever I talk to readers, that's all they ask, what should I read? What do you like? They don't ask about critical standards, they don't ask about theory, they don't ask about a lot of the stuff that real critics think is important. I think a lot of the book reviews died because they were boring and self-indulgent and unrelated to anything that actual newspaper readers wanted to read. That's really
Testify.
that's a really unpopular thing to say. But still, there's far too many book reviews out there that are plot summary or that are involved with the critic's own particular taste that don't matter to an audience at all. We, as book reviewers, we've got to do a better job of reaching our real audience, which, what you've got to have a plot summary, of course, because it's a new novel, you don't know what the plot is, how can you talk about it? But what should happen is that summary of the plot should be infused with critique of the success of that book, and the themes of that book, and the way it affected you, and the way it's written. It's that critical voice that is too often falls away, and all you're given are a summary, then a long quote, then more summary, and then a long quote, and then some sort of concluding
You
either
forgot the
condemnation.
plot spoiler.
The plot spoiler. I only know 2 people who've ever supported themselves book reviewing. One was John Freeman, who's become the editor of Granta recently, and the other one was Merle Rubin, who wrote for the Wall Street Journal and the LA Times. She passed away last year. It's really hard. John would do 3 or 4 reviews a week. I don't know how he did it, but
And he syndicated them.
yes, he syndicated them. But we pay $3.50 a review, $350. I've had people ask, is that $3.50? But a lot of places are just giving you the book for free. That's your payment. That's tax-free, though. But no, there's no way now to support yourself as a critic, as popular critic. There should not be any contact between you and a book reviewer. It contaminates your relationship. So if you get a very negative review, you should make a public death threat. Because what you want to do is so contaminate the public atmosphere, he can never review you again. But if a book reviewer loves your book, just stay in complete silence, cherish that, tell your friends, have your publicist thank him.